Hello, this is a video on almost all of the actions of cookie run YouTuber ClumsyYT has done. It all goes back on mid-late 2022. This info was never open till recently, as in the grooming situation by Suci, who wants to come out with all of this after so long. Screenshots will be provided as well as being next to the paragraphs that are related or about it as proof. We have been working very carefully on this. The reason why we wanted it as a secret till we have this all done and into a video is so it won't spread around and get out of control. Especially with the state of Clumsy server right now, which we do not want. We want to make sure this is handled the best way we can. Anyone mentioned, shown, talked about, or even a bystander in the proof as well as Clumsy himself, I'd like to advise you not to send any type of hate or harassment towards them, especially to any of the victims to his horrible doings. Any proof of his actions that doesn't go along with anything said to further back up that point, or if there's a lot of them, they will be added in a full Google Drive link at the bottom. And said proof will not have a set order in time and date. Suci here. Me and Clumsy first met in his first Discord server around September 2022. At that time, I was getting back into Cookie Run. I started to look up tutorials, tips, and other Cookie Run related videos on YouTube and came across his channel back when he had 500 subscribers or so. I noticed that he had made a Discord server and I decided to join. From then on, me and Clumsy slowly got closer. Maybe too close because we almost instantly became couples within just meeting each other for a week or less. At that time, I was 11, not thinking anything bad of it. I told him that he was the one I was looking for and that I was looking for someone who'd love and care about me, and he pretty much took advantage of that. I would like to start off by saying that even before he got exposed, I was already in a terrible state. From it, starting off with him slowly talking about sexual things to me, getting advantage of, and used for his sexual pleasure while knowing my age later on. I also want to say that the first time I got exposed to anything 18 plus or not safe for work related was in kindergarten. Because of it, I thought talking about sex, gore, etc. was something cool because I would always see my kids my age say the same things as well. Keep in mind, I got Discord when I was 10, a year later when I first joined Clumsy server. I didn't know that it was wrong for a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old to engage in intimate acts. I really thought that it made me cool and felt like the luckiest little girl ever without knowing he was grooming me into thinking that it was okay to do so. At that time, I was lying about my age and said I was 12 instead of 11, which is still bad nonetheless. He knew my fake age and yet he didn't think it was wrong at all. Later on, I did confess to him about my actual age and he was shocked but still agreed to stay and keep it a secret. But overall, our relationship really just drained me mentally and physically. He got me obsessed with sex and porn related things that got me into doing sex and fetish roleplays with him because it comforts him. I was really trying my best to make him love me and stay because at that time, I really needed friends or someone who just loved me and cared for me in general. Looking back, mid-late 2023, we'd get into massive fights and him always apologizing with, "Sorry for making you upset. Mwah." I really put all my effort and energy into him because I loved him and even prioritized him more than my own health. I regret coming back to him, but I'm glad he ghosted me because that gave me the time to really think about the things he had done to me and made me get disgusted. And lastly, I want to say that I'm aware how bad of a decision it was for me to lie about my age. And I also admit the things I've said and done in the past were very bad, and I promise to learn from my mistakes and never do them again. Please note, these screenshots here, most of them were taken by Nico, so Suci doesn't have to scroll up and live throughout all these memories again. It took a few hours to get a lot of it, and oh my god, it's fucking disgusting. Please note that Suci in these images changes her name/profile here a lot. So if you see a different name with Clumsy, it's still her. In the DMs, it went quickly into sexual actions. Only 13 hours between the first messages till it started to get sexual with ERP, sexual/erotic roleplay. Clumsy quickly started to be really sexual with Suci, such as involving kinks/fetishes onto her, such as calling her mommy and breastfeeding roleplays. And it was done multiple times. And apparently this is where he got the breastfeeding fetish roleplays. Last few screenshots was from a fetish/kink doujin he explained, which I don't want to show fully in this, but there will be a doc with all images we had gotten at the bottom if you want to see for yourself. But calling it wholesome? Thinking stuff like that is wholesome is a huge red flag. Not to mention so damn creepy, and to say to masturbate it doesn't help make it more okay than you thought it was. Clumsy had also talked about his sexual actions with Suci even in his public server, with his server almost filled with minors, and saying to do this while she's asleep just makes it worse. Joke or not, it's pretty fucking disturbing to even see. There will be more screenshots like this of Clumsy actively being sexual in his own server in full public, even in his own streams as well. Now, ever since the start, Clumsy was told Suci was 12/13 in 2022-2023. Throughout the time, till around March of 2023, she let it be known to him that she isn't the age she is, and was actually 12. And when dating at the start, she was 11, which this doesn't make anything more okay. Now, you expect him to break up, since it's a 3.5-year age gap, and considering all the sexual shit he's done into her and brought into her, but no, it's far from that. Saying this to a 12-year-old, not to mention the guilt tripping after telling that, Suci shouldn't have lied about her age, but it doesn't give an excuse to guilt trip and say horrid things to someone far younger than you. It would then at least be understandable if he stopped his actions like he's been doing for nearly a year, and expect to stop even after the first video on him posted on April 20th of 2023 should have been a wake-up call to change for the better. And now, knowing she's more younger than you thought of this. Suci speaking, I'd like to mention that I have sent him a picture of me and he replied by complimenting my chest. Keep in mind, I wasn't wearing anything sexual nor revealing. Back to Nico. Some images sent in DMs are fully scribbled out due to privacy and personal requests from Suci. A note here, Clumsy was less than a month away from turning 16 here. Clumsy should have stopped acting like this since even March, especially towards her, ever since telling she was younger, and being called out for this shit. And much more. Clumsy had also gone upset over Suci being around other people and almost making her isolating herself because of him. Suci had told me herself that when he went in a break, he introduced her to Nyx to keep her company, which led to me talking to her as well. Which he then didn't like that we spent a lot of time talking, which then prompts him to DM Suci to guilt trip her and leave with "I'll just cry in my sleep" by the end. Clumsy had also gone jealous due to Suci accidentally sending him a screenshot which includes a message from Skeptor. This is also signs of him being the overprotective or controlling type of boyfriend, or basically those stereotypes you see on shows. This may be a bad example, but they tend to not like their partner having friends and would always try to separate them by guilt-tripping, manipulating, and more. Suci speaking, Clumsy had admitted that he's dependent on me. At that time, I didn't think much of it and thought of it as rather wholesome. Little did I know, he actually put his life onto the hands of a 12-year-old girl because he couldn't handle taking care of himself, which led me into prioritizing him over my own health. Now, on to the next part. I've tried confronting Clumsy about him matching not safe for work PvPs, statuses, etc. Though all he ever said was, "It's nothing, they're just my friends, it's just a joke," and even used friends with benefits as an excuse. Nico speaking. This was already known from the last video, but I would also like to mention this again because I'll be taking down the old video, so I'll try to fit in more important stuff into that video. Clumsy has also done sexual roleplays with a very underage character, Suci, from Genshin Impact, with again, Suci. This goes to show, even in fictional reality, he doesn't give a shit for their age, probably with the argument, it's fictional. I was also notified he made comments that were sexual towards Milky Way and Pancake Cookie, which we don't have images of as of now. Fictional or not, it's fucking disgusting doing those types of roleplay, especially with them being under 10. Even 17/16 age characters in those type of roleplays are still fucked. But 5? Clumsy has also traced art from a popular creator. If you know who, it's that little ghost girl from those YouTube short videos. Looking at it, it's obvious it is. If you're gonna blatantly trace art, then get upset when people call and make fun of you for it. That's really on you. It's not your art, it's another form of you, just stealing it from someone else. This was with the screenshot about me asking who was Suci about that comment. Clumsy had cheated on Suci multiple times and had always wanted it to keep that between the two people. I was one of them, probably the first as well, which he had a status about it, yet he tried to play it off as a joke. It was also from both sides at this point. I never knew Suci yet, so I had asked him, "Who is Suci?" which I got, "It's nothing." When Suci finally found out about a relationship, he would try to play it off and convince her it wasn't like that, and call the other person for it like it was their fault until it worked, and had also tried to accuse Suci of cheating when he himself has on multiple occasions. Clumsy had near 6 or more relationships, while with Suci as his girlfriend, and always wanted it to be between them. There were also in his server sexual roleplay, ERP in short, even being an actual not safe for work channel in his own server, where it was only accessible if you asked any of the staff member or himself, hiding the user for personal privacy reasons, which they had asked me to. But a not safe for work channel in your server, yet again filled with minors, it was deleted and re-added about 3.25 times. I'm not sure why he kept deleting and re-adding it, but again, why have it when you know most, if not all of your viewers and server members were underaged? The last Shower Thoughts channel was only deleted at around February 2023 after a mod confronted about the channel's existence in the mod room during a debate, basically having to force Clumsy to delete the channel. There are even times where he'd be sexual in his own live stream, where even younger viewers would be at. Most of the VODs have now been taken down though, ever since he was called out the first time. There's also been multiple occasions where he said a lot of sexual shit, some he didn't bother to delete or just sent and deleted right after, which again shouldn't make it better. This here, we had never got contact with Sunny at all, but this was long ago sent to us by someone else we also don't have contact with. Sunny was also a person Clumsy had gone sexual with. What makes this worse is that they were scared, with them also living near Clumsy, which they talked about, said by Sunny himself, even telling him to do inappropriate stuff such as shoving a hot dog up his butt. I'm also pretty sure the dick pic portion is a joke, which I really hope it is. They didn't say it was true, and he sent one, but who knows? But as for now, we can say it was just a joke. But again, why make jokes like that? Now, I'm also pretty sure they had also deleted those accounts a long time ago, as I was told then, too. Now here's more statements, sides from other users who was affected by him as well. Clumsy had also never credited them for evidence for the video that they got. You can even see the name. Now, I won't say anything towards these from my perspective, but I am hoping they had gone better from what his actions affected them from it. So, after we wanted to get this out to the public, we discussed if we should inform Syurpys about this before or after we get this information out to the public. We decided to do so and confront him. This means no shame, but he had defended and sided with Clumsy. This was way before this stuff, such as most of the stuff coming up with Suci, was out, which he had this to say. Again, this isn't to throw shade at them and to make them look bad. He apologized and admitted his mistakes, which we accepted. Only we are allowed to. And here's some interactions with both Syurpys and Clumsy, which was shared by Syurpys himself. Now, for this one, death threats aren't okay, no matter how bad of what he did was done. It doesn't help nor make any type of situation to be better. You are making it worse yourself, even if you think it's the right thing to do, or it's okay because he's problematic.
But this one here, you really expected us to get over all the shit we were out though at that time. Over 8/9 months of your horrible actions towards us after some half apology. If you actually expected us to be good with you only a few days from that, you obviously didn't understand or don't care, H.
Other than that, he also blamed other people about his actions to Syurpys. At least, as of now, we don't have any proof or knowledge of anyone actually asking for the Shower Thoughts channel. Suci here, he had also used the excuse of him also being a minor and thinking that his actions are completely fine because of it. No matter if you're 15 or 16, you should still be careful with what you do or say. Speaking of Syurpys, Clumsy had also tried to hide some evidence of our relationship. At first, I didn't think much of it until my friends pointed it out. Now for me, the main writer, Nico, or as I used to be known by, is Mirth, and do not call me by that anymore. I changed my name because of this incident because it reminded me so much of him. I had met him around one of these two videos. The video both dating at August 25th of 2022, but only a few days after we both met on Discord and talked for hours. This was right near I got out of a relationship after years, friendship, and things ended up pretty badly. Again, I don't want to throw shade at these people because we're now on good terms with each other. Whenever anything went bad, I started to panic and such. Someone was impersonating me on YouTube and I assumed it was them doing this to me, which in reality it was probably not, which made me stay up for hours on end. Again, I am cool with both of these people about a year later from this, but this was forever ago from that. and I had assumed it was them in a sheer panic because of other actions happened, which I don't see a point in mentioning, so I stayed up for hours talking to them in hopes I would calm down, which I had stayed up till 6, 7 a.m. And here is when we started to quote-unquote date, when I unknowingly knew who Suci was. He even said himself he liked me on romantic levels, and since I grew such a huge bond to him in such a short time, I fell for him. Not to mention, mentally, I wanted someone. I felt alone, scared. I felt like I had nobody till I met him. At that time, he meant everything to me. Would have never guessed he dated other people while saying he loved me, or even dating people right in my face, even having ERPs in a group chat with me and Clumsy. I thought he does this to everyone, and I assumed it was nothing. Till they started to date, which hurt me. I felt betrayed, seeing him that he loved someone and not me in a group chat, which they also did ERPs, really shook me to the core, which I did shake it off and try to forget about it and not dump someone for one mistake. He led me on, he played with my heart, saying he loved me when in reality he was fucking with everyone else he considered a friend and wanted to keep all of us a secret from everyone else, as well as from Suci. But this was before that said group chat. I had opened up to him and said I didn't like adults. I was always groomed or sexualized from adults, which explains how I had gotten my hypersexuality from it. I'm not sure if there was any sexual actions before that, but I can say there was a lot after, which was in this server most of the time. I also thought if I had stopped acting like that in the server, since I soon realized I was asexual, hated doing actual not safe for work, sexual shit in person, that people wouldn't like me anymore, that I didn't act like that anymore, because for so long that's how I act all the time, and very much regret it. Even after letting him know I had horrible experiences from being groomed and sexualized by so many adults, he had compared my voice, which took me 6+ years to come out with since doing YouTube, from my voice revealed, and compared it to a known pedophile / groomer. And when I had confronted him about it, he acted like it wasn't him, and I was clearly upset. Why make a joke when you quite knew that I had a horrible experiences with people like that? After a few days, it still stuck with me, and I couldn't take it anymore. I relapsed and took down the video and felt so ashamed of my voice and started to hate more than I already had. And since then, till recently, I had barely, if not ever, spoken a word again. I don't like hearing my voice at the time, but recently I've been slowly getting over it. But that doesn't mean I'll ever do a voice reveal again, in fear that could happen again, and fear of people who I used to know in real life finding out from it. Even with just normal messages too, he would make sexual remarks at me, which again at the time I thought nothing of it and was fine with it. Even with that said nickname at the last name, again, it was quite normal to be like that back then. And for this part, I have no proof of, but I think I should share it regardless, because I don't think I ever shared this besides from my close friends. I actually had a 1K sub special back then for those who stuck around then. It was a joke wedding on Discord between me and Clumsy, who I thought it would be funny to do, something weird and unusual to do for a special, which quickly led on into sex from him in the public server, which then I couldn't even post said video. Even then I knew that was wrong and felt horrible after yet. I never said anything, so I don't ruin any of my relationships then. Now again, these here are our last interactions before the first video that came out. I'm showing them off because after this is out, I will re-private the old video because I feel like it was half-assed, and this one will be its better replacement with more effort. Scribbled out the parts are also to make sure it doesn't cause any drama, since I was calling out people and saying you're no better if not worse than them when I'm at least okay with them now. So to not start up more shit, they will not be shown in it. Again, I warned him multiple times, confronted him multiple times about his actions, which he never cared of, never listened, and went back to doing the same shit, again, that we didn't like. And after the aftermath, where he had that half-assed apology and that everyone went back to him, forgave him when they had no right to, and acted like nothing happened, as well as not even seeing if he changed to go back to him. That struck me, that people really didn't care about me. They only cared about him, and only hated him in the heat of the moment. And now with all done, they are cool with him? I only had one person left with me who didn't leave and went back to him, and so it happened to be my boyfriend. Here then for months and months, my mental health has dropped by a lot, which I had a few attempts. It was that bad of a low point and felt so useless and practically like a nobody. I always wanted to say this, but I could never get it out. Around the start of October 2023, he went to move to Canada, but the thing is, he never really told most people, especially his own viewers or server members. And when someone asks if they can share the info that you won't be in for a bit, Clumsy said no. Strikes weird, huh? But understandable if he was going to be gone for a few days. No? Weeks? Closer. Almost 8 months? Yes. Without a say, he left everyone, not even to Suci. We never knew about this till December. Now, why out of all people you don't even tell the closest person then at the time, but someone else? Now, this is something you shouldn't do, leaving someone in the dust for so long without a say. So, I myself tried to talk to him. I knew Suci was upset from this, and I wanted to make things right, and tell him to get back here and to talk to her and make her feel better. This was around the end of December, and no, he never came back to talk to her and apologize for basically abandoning her without a say, which now, looking back, it's probably the best he never did came back, and he stood there. And I'm glad I didn't fully push and force him to come back and make things right, because she would have probably never realized how horrid he is and his actions towards her and others. Now we have a lot of more images backing up his actions from this Google Doc here. These are either already here or ones not even used in this video. Now, please do not try to harass anyone mention this again or try to ask questions to anyone without permissions nor set boundaries so as to not go far. This document and video is for the best and to finally let everyone know how horrible he was to everyone, especially the ones he called close. Credit for the document, Theon.